Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are back with a new episode of my Ninjago Hot Takes series. This is just the series of videos where I ask you guys, the audience, to submit your spicy and or controversial Ninjago opinions so we can take a look at them and discuss them. It's been a while since we've done one of these Hot Takes videos. I've just been busy with other stuff. And I must apologize for the extensive delay. We posted about this 2 weeks ago, and now we are just finally getting to it. Sorry for the delay, but now it is finally time to dive on into things here. We had over 2,000 responses on that initial post, and I went through every single one of them, picked out a couple to discuss for today's video. Of course, with that being said, a couple of quick disclaimers. This video will be showcasing usernames of real people that responded to this post. And keep in mind, these are hot takes. These opinions might be fairly, again, controversial. Do not go out of your way to harass anyone whose name is featured in today's video. This is a hot takes segment after all. And obviously I could not pick every single one to talk about. We had over 2,000 responses. We would be here forever. But like I said, I did pick out some that I think could make for interesting discussions. Starting with this one right here. Despite having 5 minutes of total screen time, Jay's character has been better in Dragon's Rising than he has been since the Oni trilogy wrapped up. Which is saying something, considering that the time referenced here is from season 11 all the way to Crystallized, which means that according to this user, Dragon's Rising trumps all of these seasons in terms of Jay's quality and his character. I will say I'm not sure if I agree entirely with this one, but then again, Jay only has a few standout moments in my opinion during the Wild Brain saga before Dragon's Rising. A lot of those moments do come from Seabound and Crystallized, but Jay does have some good moments. Then again, his character in Dragon's Rising is also super intriguing, but we don't know a whole lot about his character. So while I don't entirely agree with this one, I mean, it is a very, very hot take, I would say. Next up here, hot take. In my opinion, we did not really need the new characters in the new series, Eren, Sora, others. I just feel like the cast was big enough as it is, and they added to that. Don't get me wrong, I do like the new characters, but I don't think they were necessary to the story. Yeah, so I saw a couple of other comments saying the same thing. I feel like the majority of Ninjago fans, though, do enjoy Eren, Sora, Wildfire, Ryu, a bunch of other characters as well. It's no secret that Dragon's Rising has introduced a bunch of new characters to the Ninjago mythos, but then again, they are not bringing back every single older character either. Every now and again, an older character might pop up. We know that for season 3, we have a few familiar faces coming back finally, but we still don't have a lot of older characters back. Instead, Dragon's Rising has built up its own cast of characters to rival that of the original Ninjago series. While some characters, like the ninja, do cross over, I still feel like the amount of characters is relatively the same between the different series for Ninjago. If they were to collide, then yeah, I'd say maybe the cast of characters is way too big. But for Dragon's Rising, it is fairly self-contained with its own original characters. Next up, the fact that all of the ninja haven't been together at all in Dragon's Rising proves for me that Netflix doesn't care about Ninjago or its fans. Ninjago is important to so many people. The dry writing, overcomplicated story, and doing what feels like a cash grab for no reason. We don't want giant boss fights or anything like that. We want the family we grew up with doing smaller things at a time. Yeah, so essentially what this comment is saying is they prefer the older style of Ninjago where every season was more self-contained. Each season kind of had its own identity. Some seasons did bleed across into each other. Obviously, the Oni trilogy was a trilogy of seasons. With Dragon's Rising, everything is connected. Dragon's Rising is just one long season broken up into smaller seasons, if that makes sense. I can understand why some of it might feel overcomplicated. There is certainly a lot going on, and there are a lot of cogs in this super large machine, but I feel like that is what separates Dragon's Rising, again, from the older Ninjago series. It's kind of just doing its own thing. Of course, like this comment proves, not everyone is gonna like the new style, but I'm not really sure if the folks behind Dragon's Rising don't care about Ninjago or the fans. I feel like they do. They are just doing something different this time. That's all. Next, crystallized hate is so forced, the switch up within, let's say, the next 3 years is going to be crazy. Just like the switch up with Skybound, which just a couple of years ago, it was still considered one of the best seasons, if not the best to many. Yeah, so I can agree that crystallized hate is a little bit forced. I feel like some folks have exhausted pretty much everything that there is to say about crystallized, but I can totally see where this comment is coming from by suggesting that there will be a switch up with Ninjago crystallized. Maybe eventually Ninjago fans will look back on crystallized and actually start to like it. We've seen that narrative change a lot with a lot of people in the Ninjago community as time has gone on with other seasons, like this comment says with Skybound. Then again, I'm not really sure if that's the community switching up, because in reality, the people in the community, they do leave and new people come in. The Ninjago community is not a fixed group of people. People are always leaving the fandom, joining the fandom, and these people will feel differently about all of the different seasons out there. So who knows, maybe in a couple of years we might actually see some Ninjago fans out there that like crystallized. Who's to say? Hot take, Morrows Redemption was mid. My main issue is that it kind of just happens in an instant, like a flick of a switch after Wu said a few words, when the entire season he's just petty and evil and showed no signs of goodness whatsoever. Yeah, so I can totally see where this comment is coming from. When you look at it like that, it does kind of seem a little sudden, but in my opinion, Morrow did have these little moments throughout Possession that suggested that maybe he wasn't all the way evil. I never considered Morrow to be an evil character per se, just kind of misguided, misunderstood, and betrayed. And all of that is a reflection on Master Wu as a teacher. With Morrow being his first student, he did not handle that perfectly. And he made the mistake of filling Morrow's head with false hope and false promises. I don't blame Morrow for being evil necessarily, because that was more so Master Wu's fault. And after Morrow was about to face his death at the end of season 5, he decided to let it all go for his last moment. Again, that's just how I see things. I can totally see why some folks, though, would consider it to be a little bit more sudden than what it should have been. I understand. Hot take, Cole fits the role of a leader better than Lloyd. Cole just feels like a born leader, he can bring people together, he's probably the kindest ninja, and he was the original leader. I just feel like they made Lloyd the leader because he's the main character. Yeah, so for those that might not be aware, back when Ninjago first began, there was a lot of evidence that suggested that Cole was the original leader. This was said in several books, character bios, and even the pilot episodes themselves kind of treated Cole as the rock that held the entire team together. He was kind of the one looking out for the other three. Then when Lloyd was introduced, obviously Lloyd became the leader because he was the chosen green ninja. In reality, yeah, they totally just made Lloyd the leader because he was the main character. And again, since his uncle is Master Wu, it would make sense for him to logically be the leader of the ninja team. Though I do agree, I feel like Cole could totally lead the team, and maybe he should be given a chance to do so again one day. Who's to say? Next up, Sora should not have won the Tournament of the Sources. You're telling me that a newbie who just started training with her elemental powers is the best, most skilled elemental master of them all? I guess it could be argued that it was luck since it depended on who she was paired against, but it still seemed too convenient for her to win. Yeah, so in terms of this one, I mean, I totally understand. I wanted Sora to win, but I can see how, logically speaking, maybe that would not make that much sense, because obviously we have all of these trained elemental masters in the tournament, people that we've known for years, while Sora is just starting with her elemental power. I totally understand that. At the end of the day, I'm not really sure if the Tournament of the Sources is the best indicator of how strong an elemental master is, because all things considered, the tournament was extremely rigged. There were not a lot of fair matches going on at all, but then again, the ones that Sora did win, at least for the most part, were matches against other new elemental masters, like Frack, like Cinder, and since Sora has been training for well over a year now in terms of the Ninjago timeline, I feel like that is realistic. Again, in my opinion, the Tournament of the Sources is not the best indicator as to how strong an elemental master actually is. This one's a little bit long, but I do find it to be very interesting, so here we go. Redeeming the Overlord would be an interesting way to give him character. He's clearly not dying anytime soon, and he's going to become an an annoying villain if he goes too much longer on his current path. A cool way they could do this would be to reference Sons of Garmadon, get him to genuinely care about someone to the point he'd abandon his very nature to become better for that person. Obviously, they shouldn't just rip off the Garmadon situation, but making him care about someone and struggle to become better against his very nature would be a cool way to take his character. Yeah, so I feel like that is a very, very interesting topic. I feel like if the Overlord was redeemed, that would probably be a good way to do it, and it would be something different to do with his character, considering he's been in the series 3 times now as this ultimate evil. If the Overlord were to come back again, maybe making him a good guy would be a good direction to take because it would be different. Then again, I'm not really sure if the Overlord is even able to be redeemed, because ultimately, in the context of Ninjago and its history, the Overlord is the embodiment of all things evil. There is not an ounce of good in him. Therefore, making him redeemed might be a little bit easier said than done. Then again, as this comment mentions, Garmadon was brought back as a purely evil being and then redeemed, so if Garmadon can do it, maybe the Overlord can do it. But then again, we've had several villains that have been redeemed before, and for a lot of those villains, it does make sense for them to be redeemed. In the case of the Overlord, again, might be easier said than done, though I do wonder how the Ninjago series would do that. And finally, for the last one here, the Mega Weapon arc in Season 2 was the most misused potential in the entire series. Never have I ever seen such a MacGuffin be so useless. Yeah, so I decided to end on this one because obviously there are not a lot of people that enjoy the whole Mega Weapon arc, but I have not seen a lot of people call it missed potential. But when you think about it, it totally is missed potential. Garmadon had combined all of the golden weapons of Spinjitzu. He could create anything he imagined, and what does he do with that? He revives pirates, a dinosaur, he makes doubles of the ninja, he tries to defeat the ninja in a race. Again, totally missed potential. I've never really thought about it like that, but the Mega Weapon, it was such a cool idea. Maybe they should have done more with it. Then again, I feel like a lot of how the Mega Weapon arc turned out was dependent on how the Ninjago series was operating back in the day, because with Season 2, especially the first half, there wasn't a whole lot going on there, and they needed to pan out the runtime to get to the final battle stuff to better line it up with the release of final battle sets. They needed to do something, and since Ninjago at that point in time was not set to continue, I feel like they just kind of made stuff up as they went along. But again, I've never really seen anyone say that this arc had such wasted potential, but when you think about it, it totally did. And with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for this round of Ninjago hot takes. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted hot takes. Like I said, I did go through all of them, and while I could not pick every single one to utilize for today's video, I thought I found some that would make for very intriguing discussions to be had down below in the comment section. So with that being said, feel free to leave all of your thoughts down below in the comment section. Which of these takes did you find to be the most controversial, and do you find yourself agreeing with any of these? Let me know down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.